determine whether a number input by a user is going to be odd or even. Okay, so first thing I need is I need the scanner utility, so I'm going to import Java util and scanner. Okay, like that. And I need to learn how to spell still because scanner is spelled wrong. Okay, all right, so what I can do here is I can say create my public void main, because that's what we need first. We all know that, public. And jump in if you have questions at any point. Okay, all right, so we talked about that last week. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put an open and close bracket because we know that it needs one, and it auto created one down here. And I love to comment them because it makes it easier. Public and public static void main. Okay, like that. Now, well, void, that's a good, Deneen, void, what it really is saying is that we are not going to return a value. Okay, so for example, public static, we could replace void with integer, with double, with string, with a lot of different things. And I think we talked a little bit last week about main being a function, and we're going to be using a lot of functions or methods, as they're called in object-oriented programming, throughout the class, and they can have a return value from them, like an outdoor to send data back. If they do not, then you use the keyword void, which means that no value is going to be returned through the outdoor of this method. So that's really what void means. Okay, so let's go ahead and we're going to say we'll create an integer variable. We'll call it test value. Okay, and I'm going to initialize it to 0. So I always like to initialize my variables, and it's a good thing to do. Okay, so now let's say we're gonna ask somebody to input a number, and we're going to find out whether it's odd or even. So we're going to say system out print line, please enter a number, just like that. All right, so I'm going to do that. Now I'm going to say, all right, I'm going to put scanner, excuse me, in new scanner system.in. I'm going to put a comment on here. Okay. Now your book may have showed you how to do it this way, but you're going to learn this way later on in the book at least. And let me see here. I'm getting a red line here, which is telling me that something is missing here, and I'm trying to figure out what is missing because I don't see it. Oh, yeah. Okay. Equals new scanner. I left out that. So what we're doing is here, this is, I want to put a little comment here. It says, this is an object that is used to accept input from the program user. Okay? Alright. So, now I'm going to say x, I test value, is going to be assigned in dot next int. So in other words, what does anybody have any idea what's going on there? And I have a typo in there somewhere, and I got to look real close to see it. Oh, I see where it is. Okay, right there. Anybody understand what that does? I'm trying to see. I'm looking here to wait to see if anybody's got an answer for me. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I'm going to put a little comment up. Right, so the number from the user gets put into that value. Alright, so it stores the input value from the user to the iTest value variable. So that's now in memory. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to use an if statement. And this is going to actually be pretty simple. One very powerful tool that we have in programming on the math side is a thing called the modulo or modulus operator. And that operator is kind of like division, except instead of returning the value for the number that was divided, it returns the remainder. And it's kind of like going back to like third or fourth grade when you start to learn how to do division. And they make you do long division where you sit there and you have to keep doing it one number at a time, and then you leave a remainder and you put down remainder 5 as opposed to using a fraction or a decimal point. Okay, so what we're doing is the modulo, and sometimes it's called modulus, it depends on who you're talking to, it's actually a math term. Modulus operator returns the remainder of division. Example, 10 divided by 3 would return a value of value of 1. Okay? It returns a value of 1 because 3 goes into 10 3 times, and that's 9. We subtract 9 from 10, and that leaves us a remainder of 1, which will not evenly divide into 3. Okay, so that's what the modulo operator does. I kind of spent a little time on that because there's a lot of folks who had never heard of it before, and really that's all it does. Okay, now this is going to be an example of a very powerful way of using that. You might think of, well, how can I figure out whether a number is odd or even? Well, you learned somewhere in grade school that if you divide any number by 2 and there's no remainder, then you have an even number, and it doesn't make any difference what that even number is. Okay, so let me do this. I want to say if I test value modulo 2 is equal to 0, then what do I know? Well, I know that I have an even number. So I say system out print line, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back here and I'm going to say even number entered. Okay, it looks like I got an extra parenthesis there. Get rid of that. Okay. Oh, I didn't get rid of it. I got rid of a line. Come on. There we go. All right. I can't spell value either. Boy, I'm having a problem. I actually need to put a new keyboard on this machine. It was defective from the factory. They sent me another one, so I just haven't put it in yet. Okay. So, yes, it is actually, Melissa. It is defective. I got this Hewlett-Packard laptop, and